Geoffrey Curran, and he's from Tustin, and he currently rides for Surf City Cyclery. How old are you?
I'm 16.
16. How long have you been cycling?
I've been racing for about, this is my 4th season.
What are one or two things that you currently do in your training that you think are keys to your success at a young age?
I spend a lot of time on the time trial bike. That's one of the things. A lot of juniors, especially when they're younger, like 15, 16 years or something, they're amazing climbers. I mean, they're usually pretty scrawny, so low weight, skinny legs, they go uphill really well, but they can't sustain the power on the flats, and that was the same thing with me. Like, all the way up to like the second year of 15, 16, I was really, really slow on the flats, but around December, I started putting a lot more time on the time trial bike and turning a big gear, and that helps, like, in all those crits and breakaways and stuff. Even not, like, you might not even become very good at time trials, but I could just spin a bigger gear for a longer time and be in breakaways for a while, ride the crits really well.
How much do you train a week? How many hours?
The high, so one of my last weeks, before Luis Rey, it was hitting like 18 hours. Putting in like a 4-hour road race and hour and a half crit on Sunday. That brings it up. But usually, if I'm not doing too long of a race on Saturday, or I'm not even racing at all during the week, it's about 14 to 15. So.
And how many races have you won this year?
I've won 6 races.
Tell me how you won San Luis Rey Pro Race, right?
Yes, it was. It was very long, 105 miles. So after a while, like, the fatigue rather than the intensity set in. But in the first 15 minutes of the race, it was actually, for all the attacking that was happening, I mean, the race actually got broken up a bit. There were even some, splits of maybe 30 riders, 40 riders, 5 seconds apart, which I thought was odd for such a, not exactly a hard start to a road race, but Austin Carroll attacked out of a break, and he got a group of just strong guys, and I saw Austin Carroll, Anthony Cannavaro, Brandon Gritters, just strong guys who can pound out the rhythm on the flats and just, have the endurance up there. So I bridged up, Rudy Napolitano followed, and I think one other guy caught on, and we had a gap of about 30 seconds going into the turnaround, and I was like, okay, the right guys, right group, right time, I think we can make this work. So I started to put some efforts into it, working on the break, and then we pretty much rotated for about 3.5 hours. So it was really, really long, and what I had to focus on mostly was staying fresh for the end. I was like, okay, I know where I have to attack on that hill at the last, 700 meters of it. I know it's going to be, a smaller group than 10, but I know I have to be fresh, so I was constantly eating and drinking, and every 15 minutes I'd go to the back, take a rest, stretch, just take the hands off the bars for a few seconds to, get out of that position. So I was fresh for that final climb. And then going into the last lap, Rudy, he upped the pace. It wasn't really explosive, but since we were out there for 90 miles, at that point we had just, it took a lot out of people. So that small acceleration dropped all but 2 of us, so Lucas Binder and I. And then I just kept the tempo going up the final climb. We rotated for the last lap, and then in the last 700 meters of the hill, Rudy took a long attack of 15 to 20 seconds, and I was like, okay, this is the time to go. Actually, the other 2 guys just came off an attack, so I punched it.
Or you're going to Belgium, and why don't you tell us where you're going, and what date do you leave, and when do you get back?
I leave in 2 days, so Thursday, the 26th of April, and I'll get back May 21st. And we'll start out in Belgium. We do what's called a kermesse, which is kind of like it's just a local race, one day. They're about 2 hours, 10 to 15 minutes or so, but they're very, very hard. It's if you've ever done the Murrieta circuit race, that's the kind of course they put them on. Short but high intensity. And then we'll be going to the Czech Republic to do the peace race, and that's a Nations Cup, so it's I guess you could compare it to a World Tour race in ranking. So it's pretty much the highest one of the highest junior races you can do, which will be really good. That'll be a challenge.
Do you want to make a profession out of this?
Oh yeah.
Will I see you in the Tour de France someday?
You have to wait a few years for that, but the next, you see a lot of junior racers. Actually, somebody said that junior racing success doesn't really historically translate into elite racing success. I mean, you don't even you never know the name of the guy who won the World Junior Time Trial Championship this year, or the road race, or anything. I mean, they could win the road race and then just become a domestique the rest of their life or something like that. So the next few years is important. It'll give a trajectory to where I'm going. So
who would you like to thank for getting you into cycling? And obviously you have a team,
mm-hmm.
but who would you like to thank for your success this far?
My parents have been extremely supportive. I mean, they take a ton of time out of their lives and money and everything just to just getting me to bike races is a huge thing. So they put in a lot of sacrifice. And then the team, Surf City was the first team where I was, part of a small group, and we were, it's a pretty tight-knit group, and we work really well together.
This is Geoffrey Curran with Surf City Cyclery, and we really appreciate